Hi, I'm Miss Thorson. I'm a middle school science teacher, and every day that my students are not in school because of the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, I'm making a short science video to share. Today we're going to talk about clouds and how they form, and then we're going to do a short demonstration that you can replicate at home to see clouds form in a jar. So, first of all, you need to know that clouds, although they look puffy, are actually made of ice or very cold water droplets, so they would not be fun to float on. I would still like to try it out myself, though. Second, you need to know that clouds form because of low pressure. So when we're down close, I know you've missed my wonderful artwork. When we are down close to the Earth, there's relatively high pressure. So the water droplets stick together and stay close. But as they rise, they spread out more and more. So the higher up the water droplets go, the lower the pressure is. And the thing that makes the water droplets rise is heat. So if this is the end of the day and this ground has been out in the sun all afternoon, then it has stored up a lot of heat and the air is cooling because the sun has gone down. So if the sun is going down, the air up here is starting to cool off. But this earth, this soil, has stored a lot of heat. So it's going to start releasing the stored heat, which means we have warmer air down here and cooler air up here, which means that this air, the warm air, is actually going to rise. And it's going to take the water that is in the air with it. So as these water molecules in the air rise, they go and spread out more and more, and that's how they become clouds. And there are also some other ways that clouds can form. We're going to look at those just briefly. Clouds can form over mountains. As an air mass is being pushed over the mountain, it will get pushed upward. So all the moisture that's in this air down here that isn't a cloud is going to get pushed up, which means it's going to lose pressure. It's going to spread out and make a cloud as it gets pushed up over the mountain. And often what will happen for mountains is that on the windward side of the mountain, the rain will fall because the clouds will start forming even over here and the rain will fall down. And by the time the air gets over here, it's lost most of its moisture. So a windward side of a mountain will often be really beautifully fertile and things can grow, whereas on the leeward side of the mountain, things are less likely to grow and you're more likely to find dry areas. Clouds can also form in the morning when the sun is shining down on the earth and starting to warm the earth, and the dew or any moisture that has settled will start to rise, will start to evaporate and rise and form a cloud, much like it will do at sunset. And then another way that clouds can form is when two large air masses, if there's a warm air mass coming this way and a cold air mass coming that way, because the warm air mass is less dense, the molecules in the air are more spread out when it's warm. So because it's less dense, it weighs less. It will actually push up over the cold, and the cold will push down. So when this warm air gets pushed up, all of a sudden it starts to spread out too, and clouds will form then because it will go into an area of lower density. So it is all about density for clouds. And I realize that you probably do not have a whole weather lab where you can make a cloud for yourself, but all you need is a jar with a piece of dark paper. Now, usually instructions say use black construction paper for this, and I used dark blue scrapbooking paper because my black construction paper is with the rest of my construction paper in my classroom, and I can't go there. So I have a jar with just half covered with this dark paper so that we can see the inside of the jar. And there's a little bit of food coloring on the bottom of the jar so that we can see the water when we put the water in. I have a bowl that has some ice in it, and the bowl fits almost as a lid. If you still have the original lid to your jar, you can just put some ice cubes in the lid upside down. The lip of the lid will help keep any melting out, but it has to cover the lid of the top of the jar. I have some hot water, and I have a match. How am I going to make a cloud? Okay, one more time for science. We have some nice warm water, not too hot, because if it's too hot, you'll have too much steam to start with, and it will be hard to see the difference that the cloud makes. Our match lit. Remember, we're holding our match here at the rim of the jar, just inside the rim, because the heat from the match is going to make the air at the top of the jar warm up and become less dense. So that will be just like being in the upper atmosphere. Now we put our small bowl that has the ice on it, and you should be able to see the cloud forming in the jar. I'm going to move my camera a little bit, make sure that we can see that cloud. There we go. So there, you can see the cloud moving. You can see the water vapor moving. Remember, that's not smoke. That's water vapor. There's no smoke in the jar. We did have the match, but there's no smoke because the match is completely out. But we can see the water vapor. You can see it swirling in there because the warm water is giving off heat that's releasing water vapor, and the water vapor and the warm air are rising up. And then when they hit the bowl, they get cold. It gets cold again, and that colder air sinks. So that's what gives us this swirling motion. If you're having trouble seeing the swirls on the video, try and focus right on the surface of the water. You can see it really clearly right there. And that's how you make a cloud in a jar. Until next time, be well and wash your hands.